Children leapt from the bus, coughing, their tiny hands clutching backpacks as black smoke poured from the windows. The driver shouted, "Run!" his eyes fixed on the fire creeping under the seats. 30 kids were on the pavement. In seconds, the bus would be gone. The smoke thickened, and the kids' screams echoed into silence. This is the empathy room, where ordinary lives reveal extraordinary courage. Subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The morning began like any other. The school bus crawling through quiet streets lined with dew-covered lawns and half-asleep parents waving from porches. Inside, the chatter was lighthearted. Kids swapping snacks, arguing over who got the window seat. A small group in the back singing off-key. Behind the wheel sat Mr. Harris, 52. The kind of driver who knew every child's name and every parent's wave. His uniform was faded at the elbows, his hands rough, but his voice carried a calm warmth that settled the bus no matter how loud the laughter got. He glanced in the rearview mirror, smiling at the chaos that only children could create before the sun was even high. Then, for just a moment, his brow furrowed. A faint odor, sharp, metallic, drifted through the vents. He cleared his throat, cracked the driver's window, and let the cool breeze wash in. The kids never noticed, but his eyes lingered on the dashboard a second too long before he forced the smile back onto his face. The bus rolled on, the radio humming softly, as if the day held nothing unusual at all. The bus rumbled along the main road, every bump in the asphalt making the windows chatter. Mr. Harris adjusted his grip on the wheel as a low rattle trembled beneath his feet. He checked the mirrors, one eye on the road, the other darting to the thin trail of gray smoke curling faintly from under the hood. In the back, 2 boys were swapping baseball cards, their laughter sharp and careless, while a little girl in the front seat hummed into the sleeve of her jacket. None of them noticed the driver's jaw tighten. The smell was stronger now, gasoline mixed with burning rubber. He slid the driver's window wider, taking a breath of fresh air, steadying himself. His thumb tapped the steering wheel in a steady rhythm, masking the fact that his mind was racing ahead. He thought of the railroad crossing still a few blocks away, the one spot he hated most on this route. Every instinct told him something was wrong, but his face stayed calm, his voice even, when he reminded the kids to sit down. Outside, the morning looked harmless. Inside, every passing second felt heavier. The bus jolted as if something snapped beneath it, and the engine coughed, sputtering into silence right as they rolled onto the railroad crossing. A hush fell over the seats before the groans began. Kids complaining about being late, a few already pulling out their phones to text. Mr. Harris's eyes weren't on them. They were locked on the thin smoke now seeping into the aisle, curling up past the backpacks lined on the floor. His heart thudded once, hard. Then his hand slammed the hazard lights. He pushed himself up, his voice sharper than the children had ever heard it. "Everybody out now!" The older kids blinked, unsure if he was serious, until they saw the tightness in his face. Feet shuffled, nervous laughter rising. But Harris barked again, louder this time, pointing to the door. "Move!" He yanked the handle, the door clattering open, sunlight cutting into the dim cabin. One boy froze halfway down the aisle, eyes wide at the smoke thickening near the steps. Harris grabbed him by the shoulder, guiding him forward, his other hand sweeping the rows to make sure no one was left behind. He knew the seconds were slipping, each one burning hotter, each one carrying the weight of 30 lives. The aisle jammed with kids pushing toward the door, voices overlapping in panic as smoke pressed harder against the windows. Mr. Harris steadied the line, calling out, "One at a time. Don't stop. Keep moving." He lifted a kindergartner down the steps, then urged the next group forward. A girl stumbled on the last step, her shoelace caught under the seat rail. He bent quickly, tugged it free, and shoved her into the arms of an older student waiting outside. Behind him, a little boy clung to the edge of his seat, frozen, his backpack slipping off his shoulders. Harris strode back, scooped him up without a word, and carried him toward the door, his lungs burning as the smoke thickened. The children on the pavement shouted for their friends still inside, But Harris's voice cut through, calm and firm. "Almost there? Keep going." He made a final sweep of the rows, eyes scanning each seat, before herding the last stragglers to the open door. The ground outside was chaos. 30 kids crowding together, some crying, some clutching each other. But the driver wasn't done. He had one more step before he would leave that bus. The last child's feet hit the pavement, and Mr. Harris swung his arm to guide him toward the group. He turned back once, the bus groaning like a furnace ready to burst. Then it happened. A deafening blast ripped through the air, hurling a wave of heat and shattered glass across the street. The children screamed, some dropping to the ground, others clinging to whoever was closest. Flames shot high into the sky, swallowing the yellow frame of the bus in seconds. Harris moved instinctively, throwing his body in front of the smallest ones, shielding them as fragments rained down. The ground shook under their sneakers, the roar of fire drowning out every other sound. When the shock faded, the children lifted their heads and saw it clearly. The bus was gone, and the man who drove it had just given them all another sunrise. Smoke curled into the sky as firefighters rushed in, their sirens cutting through the stunned silence. The children huddled together, some crying, some whispering Mr. Harris's name like they were afraid he'd vanish if they stopped. Teachers and parents who had gathered at the edge of the street ran forward, scooping their kids into their arms, voices trembling with relief. Harris stood apart for a moment, his chest heaving, face streaked with soot, watching 30 lives he had just pulled from the edge. A little girl tugged at his sleeve and whispered, "You saved us." He bent down, his tired eyes softening, and said, "No, you saved yourselves by trusting me." Reporters and police were already circling, the bus still burning behind them, but Harris didn't care about the cameras or questions. What mattered was right in front of him. 30 kids alive, holding on to each other, proof that ordinary people can change everything in the space of a heartbeat.